Welcome to the Sacred Designer Podcast. I'm your host, Alyssa Martin, kitchen and bath designer, entrepreneur, artist, and creative soul behind the Kitchen and Bath Digest. This is a show where we weave soulful design into every space and redefine what it means to create with intention. Here we don't just create beautiful homes, we design from the heart, embracing both the practical and spiritual. By pressing play, you'll be joining a community that creates not just for function, but for a sense of sacred space and personal alignment. On this podcast, you will learn to merge the art of design with soulful living, turning every remodeling project into a journey of self-expression and holistic beauty. This isn't just about kitchens and bathrooms, it's about embracing design as a path to a richer, more beautiful life. So let's step into this sacred designer together and create spaces that resonate with your soul. Welcome to the Sacred Designer Podcast. If you're new here, we're going to talk about the intersection of home and soul and how the spaces we create live that are never just aesthetic or functional, but they're about energy, intention, and transformation. I sit down with designers, organizers, healers, and space holders who understand our homes are mirrors. And when we shift our spaces, we shift our lives, whether you're remodeling your kitchen, or you're organizing your home, rearranging a closet, you're in the right place to believe that it's deeper than it actually looks. Today's conversation invites us to come back into the body, not as something separate from our homes, but as the very first environment that we ever inhabit. I'm joined by Brittany here, who works with bridges in somatic healing, the nervous system and awareness, and in intuitive living in a way that feels both grounded and deeply human. What I love about Brittany's perspective is that it reminds us that healing doesn't happen in isolation. Our bodies are constantly responding to our surroundings, the rooms we move through, the light, the textures, the sounds, and the senses of a safety or pressure we experience in our homes. As a kitchen and bath designer, I spend a lot of time inside spaces where daily regulation happens, where we nourish ourselves, care for our bodies, and move through ritual. Brittany's work feels like a natural extension of this conversation, helping us understand how homes can either support or dysregulate the nervous system. So in this episode is about learning to listen to the body, to the space, and to the quiet intelligence that lives between the two. Brittany, I'm so grateful that you're here. So welcome to the Sacred Designer.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. So you often speak about the body and as the first environment that like we inhabit. Could you share like what that means to you in your practice, and not necessarily just conceptually, but yeah.
No, well, yeah. So, I mean, from my philosophy, that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, right? So, your body is your first home, it is your ship. This is how you navigate through everything that life has to offer. So, when you are not feeling right within your body, you can't navigate properly. So, let's say you're feeling heavy or feeling down, you're going to already go into everything else that day from a state of dysregulation, right? But when you're feeling grounded or feeling light, you feel more secure, right? It's the same as if driving a car. If you are not feeling comfortable in operating that vehicle, you are going to be very, there's a higher chance that you might get into an accident, right? As opposed to when you are familiar, you're like, oh, I know exactly how this works. This feels right. I'm comfortable. I'm not in an awkward angle or anything. You're able to operate the vehicle, but it's the same concept. This body is, it's our ship, it's our tool.
That reminds me of is like, when you're trying to leave the house and you keep like, you can't find your keys or you can't find this or you can't find that. That's the moments that I'm like, okay, I'm being stopped for a reason and I just
Mm-hmm.
need to pause. And I feel like that's putting you in a position where like it might actually put you in safety,
Right.
or maybe you're meant to run into someone that you haven't seen in years or something of
Yes.
that nature. But I feel like those cues are always kind of telling you something, whether
Mm-hmm.
it is, just the dysregulation, that there's something unaligned or that there is safety. But speaking of safety, how does someone recognize, if their body feels safe versus activated, especially like inside their own home or, in the day to day?
So when we're safe, you feel less rushed. Even if you have a bunch of things to do, it's not so much that you feel like you are juggling, or you feel disoriented, or you feel heightened and concerned or scared. Like a lot of times when we're activated, we're activated from what's called the sympathetic state, which is our fight or flight, right? So
Mhm.
then everything that comes in, your body's responding to it. It may not be a bear attack, but as far as it's concerned, it might be a bear attack, right? So it's responding in that state of, okay, this is priority. I got to get this done. And if I don't get this done, then you start creating those stories of like all the horrible things that will happen, right? But when you're in a more rested, more stable state, you go and say, okay, I have these things to accomplish. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Yes, it's hard, but you come at it from with more clarity, and you don't feel as flustered. And even your home, right? If you're just moving about the rooms in your home, if you go from one state and to go one place, and you step into this room, and the next thing you know, you're feeling anxiety just because you stepped into the room, something's off, right?
Yeah.
That's your body trying to tell you something is off in here because it's upregulating you. And if you step into another space and you're like, oh, this feels good, or you have a steady state, it's more the body is letting you know, okay, things are okay here.
Because that was kind of my next question was like how like what signals do you get? I mean, I often say like you can walk into a room and you can cut it with a knife, like it's
Mm-hmm.
so thick. And I feel like that's just, people kind of giving off, a vibration in a space. But so I heard you say like anxiety and that it makes you feel different ways. Is there any other signals that you feel like you've learned to like, either ignore, override, or things that you should pay attention to when it comes to that?
When you step into step into a space, or you're in an interaction, and you start creating stories. So if you go and you step into let's just say you go to a store, and you're coming across somebody in the aisle, and the next thing you know, your brain is going down that, well, who's this person? What are they going to do? I've seen somebody like that before. This is what they did. I saw this on the news. Blah, 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 blah. And the person is sitting over there looking at oranges. They haven't even done anything to you. It's like, where? It's like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
hold on. So hold on. So, but it's like that. It's like if you step into a space, or you start interacting with people, and your body and your mind starts going through scenarios that don't even exist yet, or starts tightening. Sometimes the breath will quicken, or the chest will tighten. You'll feel muscle contractions, like a tightening, and I call that's the battening down of the hatches, right? The body is bracing. So if you
Yeah.
start feeling yourself bracing, and there's nothing to actually brace for, that's a cue, right? That's your body trying to tell you something has me feeling scared, concerned, unsure, and I want to protect, right? Because when we brace, that's the body is trying to protect itself from something happening, even if there's really nothing going on, but there's something has cued the body into that.
Have you ever found that, different people's bodies cue into different areas of the body? And I found that those are correlated with, your specific chakra. And then
Mm-hmm.
those chakras are kind of associated with whatever issue that's kind of triggering you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, you do have experienced different areas.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard that from other people that you've worked with as well, that it's happens in different
Absolutely.
places?
Oh yes. Oh yes. So, I mean, I've had some clients, they'll feel it in their chest, right? And it comes from a
Yeah.
place of where they've either not felt very loved and accepted, or they're having a hard time showing love and letting others in. Um, I had a client where, I mean, we were doing all the manual physical modalities, and at one point I eventually got I got fed up with myself and her, and I said, listen, you are holding stuff in your hips. You are holding things in your sacral chakra. Until we address what is going on here, you're not going to get better. And we did.
Resentment.
It took us, yeah, it's like we gotta work. Listen, no matter, I can do everything, I can do everything under the sun, but until you start addressing what you're carrying here,
Yeah.
there's only but so far we're gonna go. And luckily she listened, and we got
Oh,
there.
good. Thank
But
goodness. I mean,
but
it's
it
like
was
an addiction. It in like unless someone's ready to change, like and you don't realize you're almost abusing yourself, you know?
And that, yeah,
Yeah, and until you're
yeah.
ready to make that change or just simply let it go. Yeah, but no, that's beautiful that you help people do that.
So I would say, and that's something I actually spoke with a client recently about the letting go. And that's where it comes back to that book chapter situation.
Mm,
Letting go does not mean you forget. I
correct.
don't pick whatever books you like, but I grew up reading the Harry Potter series. That's always
Oh
kind
my
of
God, I
that
just binged
and
it on a
Lord of the
flight the
Rings.
other day.
So it's like that and Lord of the Rings. That's that's front and center for me. So, you know, those experiences that the characters had, they don't have to hold on to them as they go along, but they do build up the character. You know what I mean? It's a
Yeah,
part of who that character is and their development. They're no longer in those situations, but those situations did create the person or the being
yeah,
or
it
the
helps you
character.
forge a new tool for the
For
situation that it arises again. Yeah.
exactly. So when we say letting it go, it's to me, I've explained it as, can you look at what happened as a past chapter that no longer holds you? You know, it's like, oh yeah, we did go over that mountain, didn't we? Huh. Well, we're at the river now, so let's get through the river. It's like, you know what I mean? It's not to say it didn't happen. It absolutely did happen. You're not at the mountain though. We've gone past the mountain. So what did we learn from the mountain? Okay, well now let's face the river and see if
Yeah,
there's something from that that can help us cross the
yeah,
river, right? It's
yeah,
it's not it's not ignoring or acting like it didn't happen. It's honoring it, letting that letting that time be there and stop being time travelers constantly going to the past, right? let's
yeah.
let's go forward.
So let's say like you actually finally put your toe in that river and you start recognizing all these things. I feel like your body starts to change, right?
Mhm.
And when your body changes, how do we start experiencing those spaces and surroundings like after we get past it and start letting go?
I would say the most visceral response that I have seen from people in sessions when we go through that, right? Because a lot of my
Hmm.
work is before we do anything physical, it's teaching your mind and body that you are safe so that we can actually do the work. For me, what I tend to feel is once I get someone to that state, you can feel the sinking in. To me, it feels like a sinking in. It feels like a dropping of guard, if that makes sense, on the
Hmm.
body.
Yeah.
Um, and the person will kind of laugh, they'll kind of be like, "Oh yeah, that is okay." I'm like, "Yeah, you can move that way." It's like so what I feel is we start to notice not only that lightness, but a ease of mobility, an ease of movement. We're not as restrictive in ourselves, right? We're more, or we laugh more, we emote more, we share more, right? It's the safety of expression, the safety of letting the self be seen. It's been
Hmm.
that's been and that's even for myself, as you know, with my own work, that's what I've noticed for myself too.
Yeah, I love that you're kind of helping people soften, and one thing that I just thought of was, people have a hard time differentiating or discerning the difference between physically, like physically being safe, or when you say that word, they're like, but I am safe. Like I live in a great home in a great neighborhood. And we're like, that's not what we're talking about. You know? So
uh,
but it's emotional safety
mhm.
and feeling okay with your own emotions or the lack thereof, right?
Right,
So I
right.
feel like I just wanted to point that out because I feel like some people have a hard time differentiating between the
Hmm.
two. But I love how you said that though. It was like you didn't say the word softening, but you were kind of saying like just allowing a flow, like a state of
Mm,
flow. Because I think
yes.
that's really what we're all trying to strive to get to. Because once you do flow, then your body lets go of that tension and that pain. And yeah, so that's
Yeah.
wonderful. Thank you. You described that really well. So, but now I just want to talk a little bit about homes and nervous systems. So, how can a home either support regulation or quietly contribute to dysregulation? Is there any kind of points you might want to cover there?
So, Now, I will say this is a case by case person because
That's true.
everybody responds to things differently. Some people clutter, is that's enough to just trigger that anxiety. I'm one of those people, but not every room. So let's say I'm okay with maybe my office being cluttered, right? It's like okay,
Mhm.
that's a little annoying. But when the kitchen is cluttered, I can't stand it. It just I can't see anything else except the clutter in the kitchen, and it just I hyper fixate and I'm stuck on it. So it's like that's how you can tell. Like when you step into a room, it's like, are you hyper fixating on things? Are you finding yourself getting angry? Are you finding yourself
Yeah.
feeling like I can't do anything until I address this? Or also, because this is like this, I can't do anything else. You see what I'm saying? Even if we don't
Hmm.
address it, it
Yeah.
becomes the block to whatever we think we can or can't do, or becomes the contributor to that. So when you go through your home, if you come in and you are in a good mood and you go into a room in your home and your mood drops, right there, right? Something,
Yeah.
whatever that is interacting with you. Is triggering something. It's causing deregulation. It's causing some kind of a dissonance, right? So at
Yeah.
that point, you need to, I would say, pausing to check in, okay, with like, okay, what was that about? What's going on? How do we address it?
And I like that you said color because I think that's the most common thing I think that people will say is that it's color drives them bonkers. And that's totally fair. And that comes down to feng shui and the flow of chi and like allowing things to just flow freely. And that makes sense that the kitchen would bother you versus your office because you probably already have a very distinct flow in your office, but in the kitchen it needs to circulate. So that makes
Mm-hmm.
a lot of sense.
I love to cook, and so I'm very much like chef like, and I need like my knives are here, my bowls are here because I have I have a
Oh
very
yeah.
distinct system, and so if I come in and there's dishes in the sink and stuff on the counter, I'm like, okay.
So yeah, clutter, lighting, noise, layout,
Oh
I think
yeah.
that plays all into the nervous system overwhelm. And I think you made a really great point that you're just like, just pause, try to recognize what it is and make
Mhm.
that. And it could just be something so simple as changing a light bulb temperature, right?
Yes, and when you mentioned feng shui and flow, like I'm very big on feng shui in my house as well too, and making sure that the space has flow, that energy has a places to go that we don't have, because a lot of times, like you said, people will position things and just put their homes together, and it just becomes these I call it like energy sinks. Like
Mm,
it gets
yeah,
stagnant, and
yeah.
then they wonder why like I just can't rest well here. And it's like because there's no place for anything to go. Like it's
I've
all
even had
collecting
clients
here.
say, "Why does no one want to go in that room?" I'm like,
It's
"Well,
heavy. It's very
yeah, it
heavy.
doesn't feel good."
Yeah.
But okay, so like I heard you say like just to pause and try to recognize like in that moment, like when something
Mhm,
kind of happens, right? Is there any
mhm.
like because when you walk in and you feel something like a heaviness or an edge or a feeling change, is there any other kind of thing that you would suggest or at least a place to start to try to make those movements? I think what you said was wonderful, but is there anything else that you think people should consider?
Oh, of course. So let's just say you go into that moment. If it is the clutter, right? If it is something, pick one or two things. You don't have to clean the whole room, right? Because then we start looking at the dauntedness of, oh, I
Yeah.
have to do all this, right? And we start creating this list and we're like, this is a lot and I don't want to do it all. Pick a couple things. Pick a couple things to teach. It's a twofold teaching of the self. It's one, you're teaching yourself that when something is disruptive, you're not afraid of it. You can address it. And
Yeah.
two, you give yourself a little win so that, look, I did something. And then that feeds the self esteem, right? So that, and I like to call it as you've got to build your chips. I'm not a gambler or anything, but if we consider things like poker, right? If you've got 10 chips and a situation in life says this is going to cost you 2 chips to play, you're like, well, I've got 10 chips. I'll give you two. Sure, let's play. Let's see what happens. But if the
Yeah.
thing costs 4 chips and you've only got 10 chips, now you're going to think a little more like, oh, I don't have that many chips. So when we do small things like pick up a couple things, those are small wins. Build up your chip bank, right, of small
Mhm.
wins. So when the big thing has come, you have something to say, okay, yeah, if it doesn't work out, it's okay. I've still got like 100 chips left, right? But it's the small little small wins that we give ourselves.
I love that approachability. That's wonderful because I think that people do get overwhelmed and intimidated, and that's what tends to cause the problem in the first place. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think it's just even if it's just one thing or one day at a time, one day, one thing, just, you know, do those little things to kind of move
Mhm.
yourself forward. So that was a great consideration. So really to be able to kind of move ourselves forward, we need to start some sort of healing, right?
Mhm.
And somatic healing truly is kind of, I think, the kind of the pinnacle of what you're kind of getting into. Um, so the word somatic, I think it's really intimidating to people, and a lot of people don't know what the heck it means. So how would you describe that in an accessible way? Because you seem to have been, explaining things in a really accessible way so far. So
Right. No, thank you. So basically somatic healing, it's really just a really gentle body-based, like what I'm doing is I'm helping you recognize your own nervous system and patterns, right? I'm helping you create awareness of like what it feels like in your body, your posture, your breath, your emotional responses, right? And once we get awareness, the nervous system can actually start to relax at that point. A great example of this is was working with a client. We're doing something with her shoulder, and I could feel the moment I put my hands on her that she was scared. Like I felt it. And that's also part of my intuition. Like I could literally feel the fear. And I was like, okay. I was like, what do I know what I'm feeling, but I like to let people kind of say, all right, let me know what's going on. Why are you scared? What's going on? She's like, well, I'm just afraid of pain. I'm like, okay. And that's fair. You've been hurt before. That's totally fine. I was like, instead of running from that feeling, I want you to meet it, embrace it. It's trying to tell you something. It's not, it's let it know that you see it. Be okay with the fear. I'm not telling you to not be afraid. Be okay with it. Do you know, with her being okay with it, she softened. I was like, your body had just been wanting you to listen. I was like, all this time you were running from it when your body just wants you to acknowledge, like, hey, something's off. But once you acknowledge it, then it goes, oh, I guess I don't really know I'm afraid. Oh, good. That's a good point. So that's what somatic healing is. It's helping you be able to be with those emotions and be with those bodily sensations so that we can then work through them.
I love that you said that, because truly, like to initiate change or to manifest any kind of desire, you have to meet yourself with reality.
Mm-hmm.
Period. It's nothing's going to happen, nothing's going to change until you have that acceptance. So I love that you said that, and I think that is a really hard concept for people. Um, so thank you.
Yes.
Um, and how can intuition serve as a practical tool, like not something abstract, but in your daily life and in your decision making? Is that a thing?
Um, so intuition, yes, intuition is cultivated, right? It's a tool, and I guess muscle like anything else, and you have to practice using it. And the best way to practice, I would say, is small, the small hints. Again, we start small before we get to the big things. So let's say you wake up and you're looking in your closet and you're like, huh, what do I wear today? And the first thing comes to your mind is like, I want to wear the red shirt. Don't come back and say, yeah, but that's really bright. Maybe we should wear black. Wear the red, right? I'm serious. Wear the red.
Trust. Yeah.
Right, trust, right? The more you start doing things like that with yourself, the more
Mhm.
your intuition will grow. The more it's all about trust. Can you trust yourself? Right? And the more you show up and show that, yeah, I trust me. I believe I can make good decisions. I believe I know what is best for me. Intuition becomes more natural. You'll get those hits a lot
Yeah.
faster, a lot quicker. You know what I mean? But it just
Hmm.
takes time and it takes cultivation. So it's things like that.
I think that kind of, for me, that circles back to, kind of being true to yourself
Hmm.
and, just really truly being your authentic self, whether that means through, like expression of what you're wearing or what you're doing. And ultimately, that will bring you to your truth, which is really your intuition and the things that exist outside of you. Um, so I like that you said it that way, that your stories are good. We talked a little bit about how like kind of the acceptance and like building that relationship with the body and the cues. So instead of overriding it, what else could we do to kind of connect, somatically with yourself and try to initiate that healing?
I would say the easiest one anybody can do, you just do it at home. It takes you like 5 minutes. Yeah, I just want you to stop, you close your eyes, you breathe, and you start at your head, the top of your head, and you scan down through your body. And I just want you to feel how your body feels. You're not trying to change any of the feelings you feel. You're not trying to make anything go away or show up. You are purely tapping in to feel what you feel. So if you feel a pain in your elbow as you scan down, you say, oh, okay, there's a pain there. And you keep going. You don't stay and focus on the pain. You
Yeah.
acknowledge, oh, okay, I see that there's pain there. And you keep going. Or you're like, oh, my tummy feels really light. Awesome. Keep going. Right? So whatever you feel, it's just that's a good way to just start feeling into your body and
Okay.
knowing how you feel internally, right? And from
Yeah.
there, you can decide how you want to go forward with your day, right? It's like, hey, do I address the elbow? Or, oh, maybe it wasn't really hurting. Maybe it just needed some acknowledgement, right? And it's like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a bit better. So you start to learn those things. But that's just a daily body scan is a great way just to start teaching ourselves what it feels like to be within our bodies.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many like really simple like 10-minute guided yoga nidras that are super helpful, because sometimes I feel like it's the hardest part is like walking myself through things. Like if
Mm.
I go work out, I have to like go to a class because otherwise I get super distracted. I'm like really ADD, but I think that's a really great way to maybe help make that shift. But yeah, I hear you. Doing some type of consistent practice like that, is there any other kind of practices that are small that might be super helpful to kind of tune in or?
Um, I like that one, especially when people have not had any kind of meditative background or have not, have or just you, especially with the way things are right now, people are usually so busy they don't even give themselves 5 minutes. So if I can get you to
That's
like not
fair.
move for 5 minutes, I'm thrilled.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, hey, it's like let's just get 5 minutes of not moving, and we don't have anything else, just us. That's all I want. If we got that good. Now, if we can do that, and we're like, okay, what's next? Then I would say, then it's okay to start having that conversation, right?
Yeah.
We scan the body, we feel something, we go all the way through. You don't stop. You still honor the rest of the body, and then you come back and you say, huh, okay, what is this? Why, what am I feeling here? And instead of you figuring it out, let your body tell you. Instead of
Okay.
answering the question, see what your body says. Because sometimes you might feel, or you might even hear the word in your head, fear, or you might hear the word tired, right? And so that's your body that's attempting to say, oh, okay, I'm actually tired. I probably need some rest or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But we first have to be okay with just scanning and acknowledging and being in that space of we're not trying to change, we're just accepting and listening to then be able to go back and say, okay, so what is going on here to get the
Yeah.
message?
I think people are not listening so much. So thank you for that reminder.
Uh-huh.
I think we all do a little bit of that. So like beyond aesthetics and beyond the clutter and beyond, like all those things we kind of talked about, is there any other way that you could think about your space feeling safe?
Safe is synonymous with support.
Mm,
Um,
yeah,
so a space that supports not just who you are, but who you want to become, right?
I love that. Yeah.
Because let's just say, and for my own, one of the things that was I struggled with was being more active, and it's still something I'm getting a lot
Tell me
better
about it.
at it. I didn't really have I had a bunch of workout things, but I didn't really have space for them. And I finally created like a little front section where that's where my yoga mats and my yoga ball and all that stuff is there. So now when I come in the house, that's the very first room to my left. It is the first thing I see. And so for me, it's like, oh yeah, I need to go spend some time doing in there, doing that. That's also, it turns into the meditation room depending on what I'm doing. But it's like, those are the two things I said to myself. I want to be able to be more active. I want to have a dedicated space to meditate and do my spiritual practices. And the first room to my left when I walk in the house, boom, it is right there. It is a constant reminder to myself, right? So that's how we can work with our homes is what is it that you're like, I want that's going to support you and that makes you feel that connection, that safety. Making that a major, I guess, part of the way you put your house together is going to be huge in getting you to where you want to be.
Yeah, setting yourself up for success. Thank you for saying that. Because like look at all those things. Like I know that, but I need to hear it again.
Yeah. That's okay. I love stuff like this because like I didn't really write anything down. We've just been talking and I love like letting the thoughts come as I'm in the flow because a lot of times it's messages I need to rehear too. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, thank you.
Like, thank you, Spirit. Okay. Yeah, we just needed to
Yeah.
hear that right now. So how about like for you, like, we talked a little bit about like placements of things. Is there any kind of like grounding elements or texture or like warmth or familiarity that kind of affect you or you have found affect other people, like, throughout your space?
I am big into wood. I
Oh,
like I like natural textures. I like just wooden things. I love nature. So I'm very much the person that's always trying to bring nature into the house, much to my fiance's begrudging.
well, you're gonna have
So
to come see our farm because my husband is
yeah.
a woodworker. So,
Oh, yay, yes. So that is one thing I love. Wood, soft textiles, wool. I love obviously of course the color green, but basically anything like I like the pastels of like nature, but I do enjoy as well, pops of color. I think I was having this conversation with someone. I said, isn't it interesting when you think about school? From like preschool to kindergarten to I want to say maybe about second grade. Our classrooms are colorful. I mean, it is just color explosion when you go into there, right?
yeah.
And then you hit like second or third grade and it's like you're in prison. And it's like,
Oh,
what
jeez.
happened? Well, all the color's gone, right? It just goes
Yeah.
into like grayscale and it's all just very flat and bland. And it's like, what happened to all the color? And it's like I feel like we as people we get pushed into that, but we forget how important color is for us, right?
Yeah.
And like nature is full of color, right? It's just like I that's what brings me joy is having color with nice warm earth tones. It's like it just feels like I'm as much in nature as I can be without going outside.
Yes. Okay. I love that. That was beautiful. So I heard you say that like you love to cook and all those things. How does your kitchen specifically kind of like help you heal and regulate? It sounds like, and I could be wrong, but you tell me, I mean, is cooking almost like a form of meditation for you? Is that kind of
Yeah.
where that lands, or what else is like healing about it for you?
Um, It is like meditation. I also get my creativity comes out in the kitchen. I love making things without a recipe. Like I mean, I like having a central idea, and then I go in and I see what we have, and I say, okay, what can I do? As long as it's not like, a lemon and a potato, right? I need a little more substance, but I do love going in and just creating. It's it's a space where it's creativity, it's meditation, it's nourishment
Yeah, it's
all
kind
in
of
one,
fitting
right?
all the things that you need.
Hmm.
Okay, that makes sense. And I think people need to hear this because although we may be in alignment, you have to constantly be feeding it,
Yes.
feeding that vessel. And do you remember those books? And I'm probably going to date myself, The Chicken Soup for the Soul,
Oh, I used to have
like
that too.
It's, it's like filling the voids of like what you need, right? What you need
Hmm.
to hear, what you need to read. And like, so
Hmm.
like I love how you described it. It's like, I need the creativity. I need to nourish myself, all the things. So I think I do invite people to just see like what is it that you need and like what part of your home can you fulfill those areas of
Right.
your
Yeah,
needs. Yeah.
absolutely.
Because then of course, then my next question was going to be like, how could you create that calming space or, or things that, address kind of like any issues? Like, would you say like working with your body first makes sense? Or should you do it in combination? Or does fixing your space first kind of like, which one do you recommend going for first? Or what is the order of operation?
Well, I would say in tandem, especially when it comes to your home.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's where, especially like, let's just take the bedroom. This is where you're spending a lot of your life in rest. That's supposed to be the space where your body goes to heal and rest and recover to then go back out into the next day.
Hmm.
Yes, I want you to work on, the things internally and body, but let's just say your bed is a mess. How can your body rest to even get to that state of doing that work if your bed doesn't support the rest, right? So it's
Hmm.
as much as I love color, you've decided you're going to paint your bedroom walls like a fire engine red. Well, no, that's not good for resting, right? That's because your nervous system is haywire the whole time because it's at alert, right? So it's the things that we can do for our spaces are going to supplement and support what we do for our bodies, especially when we are putting ourselves in that space, right? So it's what is it, the nature versus nurture? Your
Hmm.
space is the nature, it's the environment that the internal nurturing will then be able to happen, but it must be supportive.
Yeah, because I think people need to realize that, you need to view your home as an active participant of the process.
Yes.
That's really and I feel like that's when healing kind of starts. So, what other like what shifts and when you stop asking yourself, does this look good or does this feel supportive? Are there like what is there anything else? I feel like you've covered a lot, but is there anything else that you feel like you need to consider when it comes to your home?
This is going to be a tough one. And I need people to, depending on your sensitivities, you may need to sit down for this moment. But it's going to be the people you let in it. And I know that's going to be a hard sell for some people. Um, but we have to consider that when you invite someone into your home, you're inviting them into your space. They are bringing everything they are dealing with and carrying into your space. Um, and depending on the nature of the relationship and where they are as an individual, people tend to, either consciously or unconsciously dump, right? They don't realize they're doing it, or some people do
Hmm.
know they're doing it and they want to do it on purpose. Um, so bringing people into your space is actively allowing them to bring whatever energies they're dealing with too. Now, I'm not saying to not ever let anybody into your home. I mean, my clients come into my home, right?
Yeah.
So they are bringing everything that they're bringing. Um, I have my space set up to where we do a lot of cleansing and a lot of shielding and caring for that purpose. But I would say that, that is something to consider is the kind of person you are, the people you are letting into your home. How do they contribute when they leave? How do you feel? How do you feel when they're in
Hmm.
your home, right? Are you feeling comfortable in your home while they're in your home? Do you feel heavier after they leave? These are the cues your body can tell you about people. And we talk about intuition. These are those cues where the body starts to say, I don't know about all that. We may need to talk about this.
Yeah, boundaries. That's the first
Oh,
thing that comes in.
oh
And people
yes.
have really high expectations just to the fact of marriage, relativity. I think some people think that it's an expectation, and I'm glad you went there because I think that people don't realize that you can become quickly uncomfortable in your own sacred space
Yes.
because of the lack of boundaries.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm glad you said that because I think it's something that people need to consider. And just because you're telling someone, no, you can't just stop by, there isn't something wrong with you. I think that
No.
is, but I think that this has been stretched by a lot of people I know. And
Yes.
I think it needs to be, said that
Hmm.
it's okay to tell someone no. And that's a complete sentence. So
Yes.
thank you for saying that. I see that, you had told me that, you are a licensed massage therapist and I know that you're into Reiki, correct?
Yes.
And what are like the most popular modalities or things that you tend to offer to your clientele, or really just things that you think have been the most effective, as of today?
Yeah. So I will say, first off, the Reiki is, I'm a Reiki master. I do not turn it off. I tell people Reiki is not something, it's not a light switch. Once it's on, it's on. So that's something that's kind of always humming in the background, if it makes
That's fair.
sense. What I've done with my practice is I have combined the physical or the manual modalities we're maybe more aware of, that come from Swedish deep tissues, sports, orthopedic massage. Just it's a combination of the different modalities I've learned and been practicing into one, if that makes sense. So I'm
Yeah.
using different techniques from different fields at the same time.
Okay,
Um,
very cool.
and I've learned this because there's it's like a pie. And I know this is silly. I'm a storyteller. If you haven't learned by now, it's the easiest way for me to explain myself. But it's like all the ingredients, eggs and flour and they're cherries, whatever, they're all great on their own. You can eat them all on their own for the most part. When they come together, it's fantastic, right?
Yeah.
So so that's how I look at it. It's like all these different modalities, yeah, they're great on their own, but if we can bring them together, it's fantastic. So that's how I practice. I also use a couple tools. I have a grounding mat on the table at all times as well, so people are constantly, you're getting grounded. I tell people, if one thing's going to happen, you will get grounded when you come here, regardless of how you feel about it. You're going to do it. So
Yeah.
if you haven't touched grass, you're gonna touch some grass today. So so I have that going all the time. I have one for myself in my little yoga workout room. It's been such a game changer in my life and in my clients. I see the effects, like it helps them come out of that fight or flight a lot faster. I have a system called the Dolphin microcurrent, which works with polarities. And again, I have had people come in with, I mean, just issues that they've been dealing with for years, and we'll do one treatment, and they're like, okay. And I'm like, woo. So, woo. So
Winning.
like it's been really awesome. And with that, I do the vagal nerve stimulation. And just for the people out there, wherever you go, if they try to tell you about the vagal nerve stimulation, they're not turning your vagal nerve on. If you are alive, your vagus nerve is on. Okay?
Yeah.
We either upregulate or downregulate. There's no on or off. You're here, it's on. We want to downregulate if you are in your sympathetic state within a fight or flight. So wherever you're at when you hear this, if you go to get that done, just listen to what they're saying to you. That's all I ask. I just don't want people to. There's just been some things out there that I look at and I go, huh.
Yeah.
So
I hear you. Well, that's wonderful. And are you down for a fire round where I kind of just fire some questions at you and
I'll do my best.
okay, sounds good. Okay. So, the first place in your body you notice when entering a new space.
Chest,
One sensation that tells you a space feels safe.
warmth.
Ooh. A signal that a room may be dysregulated.
Mm, um, In balance, actually, like a balance. Yeah.
Okay. A somatic practice you return to again and again.
Body scan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A texture element that feels insanely grounding.
Wood. Yeah.
Okay. One small shift that can support regulation at your home today.
Open your windows.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
A body cue that intuition is speaking clearly.
Um, Clear. You're going to feel clear. It feels very clear. Like it's not like a muddied, muffled, you can't really hear it. It's like bell clear.
Okay. A
Yeah.
room in the home that deserves more care and intention.
Mm, that's a good question. Maybe my office. I guess it could use more love.
Okay. A practice you'd recommend during times of transition or stress.
Ah, ooh. Let me think about that one.
No
That's a
worries.
good one.
One intention you hope listeners bring into their homes after this conversation.
Oh, yeah. Make your space yours. Let it be what supports you
Yeah,
because you live there. So
I
it,
love
it
that.
needs to support you. And to practice, I'd recommend during times of stress or transition. Honestly, it would be breathing. And I know that sounds crazy, but a lot of people don't breathe when they get into stressful situations. They stop breathing. Or their breathing gets so shallow. So I would say to just breathe. Actually, take a moment. Don't do anything else, and let yourself have full breaths, and then go back into what you're dealing with.
Yeah, that's a really great recommendation because there's so many times that even I find myself still doing it where I'm like, oh, okay, Alyssa, take a deep breath.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So Brittany, thank you so much. This conversation was really grounding. It was an embodied conversation too. Your work reminds us that healing doesn't begin with perfect spaces. It begins with presence, safety, and listening to your body's wisdom. For everyone listening, I hope this episode has invited you to soften your relationship with your space and reconnect with the environment that lives closest to your body. And Brittany, where could my listeners connect with you or learn more about your work?
Sure. So you can visit my website. It's sacredst.com. You're also more than welcome to, I tell people, just email me. You can email me. It's my name, Brittany, at sacredst.com. Even if you're not looking for a session, if I have information that can help you, I believe in helping. And even on the website, there's a little library section that I'm starting to flesh out that just has just information, just some things to help, right? I think right now we all need to show up and support each other the best we can. And if I can give you some information or you can read something and it changes your life for the better, then great.
That's wonderful. All right. Well, beautiful. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Hey, sacred listeners, it's Alyssa Martin. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. But guess what? We're going to be at school. That's right, SKOOL. There, we're going to have a free community where there's all the tools and checklists and things of that nature to help you get your remodel done in alignment. But guess what? We're also going to have the design lounge where you get one-on-one access to me. So go to school, check out the link in the show notes, and check it out.
I'll see you guys next time on this Here's the Sacred Designer. Thank you.